Hi, I'm Sasha and I'm going to be showing you how to manipulate this coat, which is a princess seam coat. Let's see if I can get that into focus there. Get it into focus. Which is this coat right here. You see that? I'm going to manipulate that to the side zipper front closure. Okay? Alright, let's get started. I have already created a flat and pattern pieces of what it would look like in the end. So this is the original without the skirt portion of the coat. With the front closure, excuse the uneven lines, this was just a freehand drawing. And it consists of a front with a seam allowance to put the zipper, a side front, a sleeve, and the back is the same. It's cut on the fold at the center back and has a side back. It has a rounded facing and a lining. The one you're going to manipulate it to is this here, which would have a front and facing, two side fronts, a sleeve, and front facing and a back facing and a lining. Okay, let's see if I could get that close up for you. That is what the new coat would be. It's more like a jacket slash blazer, a zipped blazer, and that is the original without the skirt portion of the coat. Okay, so these are the original pieces, and what you're going to do is this. I'll leave this here for a little bit so you can see. All right, let's get started. So the first thing you're going to do is cut the okay. What I'm going to do is first thing I'm going to do is cut my seam allowance off the front piece. So trace on your pattern would be 5/8 of an inch. Most commercial patterns are 5/8 of an inch, but here I'm going to do 1/8 because it's a small piece. So I'm going to cut off my seam allowance from both my right front and my left front. Cut it right off. This will be your center front. You're not going to need the seam allowance, so you can throw that paper in the trash. And you're going to tape your two front pieces together to make one new pattern piece. Okay. Make sure that your line is straight. So this is your new front pattern piece, but you're not done yet, because you're going to take your side front and your right side front and your left side front. Let me fix this. This is left and this is right. And you're going to cut the seam allowance off that piece too. Cut off the seam allowance. the collar or the armhole. Okay, now you have your princess seams. In the original coat, there is no curve at the collar. It goes straight from the neck, the shoulder seam, all the way down. So it's like a square. So your front will be a rectangle. How you do that is you put the two pieces together, where the princess seam meets, and you're going to match it up. Okay, and you're going to make a new neckline from I'll do it in a different color so you can see what I'm doing. So I'm making it straight. And then this will be flat, like that. So this will be your new pattern piece where you see my marker. Okay, now you're going to cut those and you're going to add seam allowance. Before you do that, you need to match your center back. Because that's where your new princess seam on the back will be. See how they match? They need to match. Okay, so that's your new notch. So I'm going to create a princess seam. I'll use my marker so you can see. Okay, that's my new princess seam. And then I'm going to attach my right side. Excuse me, I'm going to remove the seam allowance off the back. Remove the seam allowance from both pieces on the princess seam only. With the new princess seams, that's the black. And this is my front with the new princess seams and the front panel. So what you're going to do is cut on the black line, because those are your new pattern pieces, and you're going to add seam allowance. Okay, so these are your new pieces. And I'm going to add seam allowance. So all I do is just tape it to a new piece of paper. Yours is going to be actual size. Mine is a miniature size for tutorial purposes only. Okay, and I'm just going to add the seam allowance. So I have moved my princess seam. Princess seams only. Now, of course, when you make this, I would make a draft first to make sure the sizing and the position of the princess seams are where you want it. So you can make it with a piece of heavyweight cotton, very cheap cotton that you can find in the bin at Joann's, or you can make it out of muslin, but I always try to find cheap fabric first because muslin can be a little expensive. Okay, so now you have your seam allowance. You cut those out. That's my front, my new front pieces. And of course you need to make a rectangle for, you're going to cut 2 of those with one piece of interfacing. To change your sleeve. That's why I didn't do the sleeve. And then you have your front tab, which will go along the front side, and you will end up with this. Okay, thank you. I hope this has helped. Bye now.